Up next is Renee. She is an internist in the United States. Like our other three panelists, teaches widely, does research, teaches all around the world. And I'm very much looking forward to your lecture, Renee.
Greetings, everyone. I would like to thank you for the opportunity. It's been a real pleasure to be able to prepare this and work with Jose and Anna and Irene. And so I'm here to round it out. So now that we've heard more about the specifics within Costa Rica, Brazil, Canada, and some of the specific challenges, I'm going to talk about our more comprehensive challenges. So at the end of this part, we're going to make sure that everyone can describe the challenges to widespread adoption of POCUS in internal medicine, and also highlight ways that you can help advance internal medicine point-of-care ultrasound at your institution. So first, I just want to highlight the status in the United States. And of course, it wouldn't be, I couldn't represent the US without making a Trump joke. So we currently have more than 200,000 valid general internal medicine certificates as of 2018. And so this is our American Board of Internal Medicine is the certifying body for internal medicine in the US. So more than 200,000 practicing general internists. Each year, we have more than 7,000 residency positions. And this is in contrast with 3,000 family medicine and over 2,000 emergency medicine positions. So we have a huge number of learners. We also have no residency training requirements whatsoever. So unlike emergency medicine, general surgery, urology, we have no training requirements for point-of-care ultrasound. And as you can imagine, that leads to it not being a standardized part of education. And in addition, we have no general internal medicine specialty statements regarding the scope of practice. So we are quite limited compared to where our emergency medicine and other colleagues are for point-of-care ultrasound. Now, what about the rest of the world? Thanks to Dr. Ma's team in Canada, we have, and my cursor's not moving, so that's okay. We have the Canadian Internal Medicine Ultrasound Group. They came up with a consensus recommendation regarding the curricular points that should be a part of internal medicine residency programs there. And in the UK, they have a curriculum for the focused acute medicine ultrasound. So this is for acute medicine, which is kind of a subset of internal medicine, and they have their own curriculum. But these are the only two ones published on a literature search. So that makes us feel like we're practicing in the wild, wild west. And that can be a little bit scary for internists who can tend to be a little bit more conservative and risk averse. So thankfully, WFUM, we greatly appreciate your work for this. You all put out this wonderful point-of-care ultrasound position paper, and I actually used this position paper in making an argument to one of our internal medicine organizations. And one of my favorite pieces here is that under education, that we want educational programs to facilitate the general medical practitioner learning at any level of experience. And I love that it called out starting at medical student level and continuing on. Also, I very much appreciate the fact that you all highlighted we want to make ultrasound examination available to every physician, and that we truly believe this will improve diagnostic efficiency and patient management. So this was a wonderful start for us all. Of course, the ACEP guidelines have been useful too. And Society of Hospital Medicine is one of the first internal medicine organizations, or there's hospitalists of all kinds, pediatrics, et cetera, but it's predominantly internal medicine based. And they started off with this credentialing guideline, a position statement for ultrasound guided bedside procedures. American College of Physicians has now created a statement in support of point of care ultrasound in medicine. This does not have details. They're just saying it should be a part of the internist toolkit and that they are working on it. And just a couple of days ago, the Society of Hospital Medicine published their position statement on point of care ultrasound for hospitalists. So we are making progress, but we are not there yet, and we don't have anything for general medicine and those out in the community. So other challenges include so here we go, sorry. Other challenges include, as Dr. Ma mentioned, we don't have the research database in internal medicine patients yet. So what we have is a lot of stuff that we extrapolate from emergency medicine and critical care medicine. So we're extrapolating a lot of data, but we don't have our own, we don't have a robust data set yet, although there are people working on this, including Dr. Ma and her team. We also are sorely lacking in educators. There's a core set of us that teach at the majority of the national pre-courses and other courses, and it does get larger every year, but we still are in this place where with over 7,000 residents and 200,000 practicing internists, there's not enough skilled people to actually do the teaching to get even 10% of the practicing internists on board, plus the 7,000. Time is a huge issue. If we were to start this in medical school, Jose was mentioning in Costa Rica, point of care ultrasound is not in the MD curriculum. In the United States, it is variably across the US. So at my school, I'm constantly fighting for curricular time because it's such a packed curriculum. Same for residents. It's really hard to get them out of their clinical obligations or for them to have enough time to work this in. Also, faculty time, learning a new skill set can be a challenge. And then Dr. Ma also mentioned getting them to, or actually Dr. Feoli had mentioned, getting them to see that it's not taking time away from their patients, but adding to their patient care can be another thing. And finally, money for machines, middleware, servers, informatics. This is a large problem as well. So real quick, I'm going to round this out by saying what you can do to help. And it really, especially in POCUS, I truly believe it takes a village, and that we all need you to help chip in and get us going further in internal medicine POCUS. So ways to contribute include outreach, getting out of your silo and bringing them in or encouraging them. When I first was doing this, I didn't have my quote unquote people here at OHSU. It was when I went out to the national meetings and I could meet people like Dr. Blivis and other national experts, and then kind of help me. And when I came back to my institution, then I tried to break down the silos here and get emergency medicine and critical care and other people to work with me. So reaching out within your institution is huge. Help them network with other IM POCUS sites. If you know, send them to me, Irene, Jose, and Anna. And education-wise, you can contribute if you're a urology expert, a urology radiology expert, doing a lecture about the kidneys and bladder, or hands-on skill teaching. These are all crucial pieces. Curriculum development is another huge need. And then sharing lessons that you've learned. What are the pros and cons of different ways you've done things? And then training the ultrasound trainer is huge. A lot of people go from being the first person in their department to go take a course and certification, and then they get voluntold to create a curriculum and to train people. So you have the skill to help them know the best ways to educate in ultrasound. Finally, research collaboration is big. Always ask yourself, would this be a good question for internal medicine patients? Because I found it's way easier to modify a protocol than it is to create something from scratch. And then the mentorship piece. If you have expertise in designing ultrasound studies, this is hugely useful. And also manuscript and other publication contributions if you have connections, or you, for instance, know the best article types in JUM for what we'd want to do, or the WFM. And then, of course, that's good for them and you. Finally, never purchase machines alone. If you buy a couple of $200,000 machines, who knows, Philips might throw in, or Sonosite, one of them might throw in a machine for us, or we might be able to purchase at a discount. We also would recommend that you consider pooling resources. Internal medicine doesn't make a lot of money, and so if you can pool resources for simulators, that can be very helpful. Using existing servers and workflows for everyone. I don't have the time to go into this, but at OHSU, we're working on the same server, workflow, storage, archive for all of the entire hospital, so that we all are on the same page and using the same resources. And finally, lobbying clinical leadership for universal POCUS access and support. If you're in emergency medicine, critical care, radiology, leadership might listen to you more than us internists as we're trying to build up. And I truly believe it should be something universal, as you put in your WFM position paper. So, reminder, it takes a village, and I think we have just a few minutes for questions.
Renee, thank you very much. Great presentation. I love it. In fact, thank you, everyone. Maybe we can squeeze in one quick question. And there is one up there. Specifically, this is addressed to Irene, and it states, why do you think when there are symptoms of DVT in a total knee replacement post-op patient that ultrasound should be avoided? And I'll let you interpret that and everything.
Okay, if I heard that correctly, is why we should not do ultrasound in a post-op knee patient to rule out DVT. Did I hear that correctly?
I think that's what it read.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think there's a couple ways to answer that. One is that I'm not saying not to do one. The more important answer to that is actually know what you're interpreting when you do one. So more specifically, if you do see a DVT, you're fairly confident it's a DVT, it is a DVT. What you can't do as well as a point of care person is to rule out DVT unless you comprehensively examine the entire venous system, which I can tell you I do not have the patience for. I can do, evaluate 2 zones comfortably, but definitely I'm not going to go through the entire venous system. So if I'm not going to go through that, I cannot use it to rule out. And I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much, Irene. It is 2 o'clock. So again, I want to thank Anna, Jose, Irene, Renee. Thank you all for being here. The lectures were great, and I think you all have presented a lot of new information to the entire ultrasound world, with some very exciting things obviously to come in the future. Thank you all very much, and I greatly appreciate your participation, and WFM thanks you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.